Hey, we're back again with episode 9, Sweet 5 production. You are listening low on the Listen to Low show. And like we said once, and one we said again, 2 ears, 1 mouth. Make sure you listen to low, because you never know. Sometimes you just got to go. I'm going to leave with a motivational quote today. You are your only limit. Some say the sky's the limit. I say you are your only limit. You got to know how to take your game to the next level. Right? There's no limit on how far you can go. It's how you can go, how you can be. It's all about you. It ain't about me, it's about you. So if your limit is a certain level and you want to get to that certain level, get there. Just don't plateau. Take it to the top. They say go to the mountaintop. Go there. But remember, if you go to the mountaintop, just don't go alone. Make sure you're on that top with a lot of people that want what you want in life. Be on the mountaintop that people who have the same mindset of greatness. Make sure when they go to that mountaintop, they get so high. Right, the limit is so high up there, they're committed to being great. Make sure you do everything to sacrifice. Sacrifice the greatness. Sacrifice the mindset. Sacrifice the journey. Sacrifice everything in your body, your mind, your body, your soul to get to the top of the mountain where everyone is at. And last but not least, when you're up there, you make sure you did everything with passion. Right? You got there with passion. It's a passion of greatness. So like I said, you are your only limit. And today, on episode 9, we're going to talk about a very successful black man, a professional, right? Someone that reached the highest limit and still got a lot more to go. This right here, my guest today is the man, the myth, the legend, right? Mr. Greg Francis from Osborne and Francis, a man that did a great thing for the community, right? For the people. Greg, what's going on?
What's going on, Lo? Thanks for having me on here.
Yeah, Greg, I'm telling you, I was so excited to have you on. I mean, I do a lot of shows, and sometimes you get caught up with just thinking about the sports side of it. Right. And I really don't want to think about the sports side all the time because we have to remember they're student athlete, right? So there's no way we're going to get to the sports side of it if we're not a great student.
Right.
Greg, sports, that wasn't the journey that you took all the way through. Who is Greg Francis?
You know, Lo, Greg Francis is a black man, a strong black man who is committed to fighting for the rights of others. Mm-hmm. And I think that I got that conviction from how I grew up and who I grew up with. You know, my best friend is doing life for murder. Wow. When he went away, and I went to see him once, and we started talking, and one of the things I realized in our conversation was how our lives, although we grew up a couple houses down from each other, how our lives were very different. Right. But I was committed after that to make sure that I always have and that I always will be the voice for the voiceless, for the little man, for the left out. So that's who I am now. Mm-hmm. You know, I grew up as an athlete, though. I played football. I was a wide receiver. Oak Ridge High School. So I ran track as well. Mm-hmm. But the reality of it is, although in my mind back then I was a great athlete, I was probably a marginal athlete at best that worked really hard. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Worked really hard. You know, I may not have been the fastest, but I'm still going to be in that wide receiver crew, because no one's going to outwork me. And I just think that from sports, from football, from track, all these different sports, there's so many life lessons that can be learned. As a football player, how you huddle up. Okay, that's a planning meeting. Correct. When you execute a play, okay, now you're executing the plan. You all have a goal in mind. 11 people got a whole goal in mind. 11 people trying to keep you from that. Right. So, I think that the teamwork that is learned with that from playing sports and the relationships that occur from that. Mm-hmm. When you're on a football team, basketball team, or whatever, especially in high school, everyone's not going to be that superior athlete, and everyone's lifestyle is not going to be the same. So to be able to see how some different cultures did things, I went to some of my friends' house and I thought, why can't I live like this? Right. Why can't I live? They're not any more special than I am. Right. And lastly, I'm a father of a student athlete. Gotcha. Who is kind of going back and forth as to whether he wants to play sports in school. You know, again, like I said, I thought I was a great athlete. I remember I went on a recruiting visit to Florida, but I was really there with my friend.
Right.
Really about me.
Right.
And as I started school in Gainesville, you know, I figured I'll just walk on.
Right.
You know, they got a great walk-on program. And I lasted maybe about 2 weeks. And then I realized
this ain't for me.
This ain't for me.
Right.
This ain't for me.
Right.
I mean, you know, they had that's when they had Carroll City, half of Carroll City coming up there. You know, they had linebackers.
They got the Miami boys. They coming in.
Miami boys who were faster than, you know,
everybody.
They play linebacker and, you know, they faster than receivers. So I was
right.
like, man, this is not for me. So
right.
that's when I kind of switched my focus and became more academically focused. In my mind, I was okay with that because I tried it.
Right.
And I realized it didn't work, you know. And I think it's important in life not to have regrets about anything like that. So if it's something you want to try it, you know. But also understand and recognize very early on, how is this going to benefit me?
Correct. So you want to look back. I like what you said too. You don't want to look back and say, "I wish I would have."
Right.
I wish I would have. Right.
Right.
I would tell this to my kids and a lot of kids all around that I work with, I deal with. You know, goals written down, you know, comes true, but goals that not written down, they become wishes.
Right.
So, right? So you don't want to wish,
right.
like wishing upon a star, right?
Right.
But we didn't get to the star, right?
Yeah.
But like I say, it go back to you are your limit, right?
Right.
I mean, and how you get there gonna be up to you. But I heard you say about being a father of a student athlete, and I know you had man, we had an experience together too, because your daughter also was a student athlete at Lake Highland Prep with my daughter.
Right, that's right.
And we seen the other side of it, right?
Yeah.
When it came to sports, and we came to the support that you had, and it came to being able to take them all over the world, right? Everyone don't get that opportunity, right? And your daughter had opportunity. My daughter had that opportunity. But then I just want to go back into the part of my daughter said, I want to be an Olympian. But to be an Olympian, you still got to be smart.
Right.
So she graduated, Lake Highland Prep, high honors, did a great job. Your daughter decided, hey, I don't want to play. I don't want to be an Olympian. I just want to go to college and I want to be a...
Yeah, she wants to be a doctor. She wants to be a doctor. She's pre-med at Spelman, and she was really down to Spelman or Howard.
Okay.
And Howard had actually offered her to play volleyball. And we just kind of made the decision that, again, kind of looking forward, not for the immediate pleasure or satisfaction, but looking forward, what was going to be more beneficial for her to play. And they got a game on a Thursday, and they got practice 3 days a week and all that. And, the college experience is just different for student athletes.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's not worth it, but it's worth it if it's for you.
Right.
And we just kind of decided ultimately that, we didn't want to have, that kind of extracurricular activity, especially if you're going into medicine like that.
Correct, right. But and the same thing, I was just sitting talking to my daughter the other day, and we're talking about 4 years. And I said, where are you going to be at in 4 years, right? We're blessed, she got a full 100% scholarship to play volleyball at University of North Carolina, Greensboro, right? Last year, she was the all-district, all-academic district. She had a 3.57 GPA and played volleyball.
Right.
Very hard to do.
Right.
There's 172 girls in the conference that play volleyball. Only, I think, 17, and she was in the top 3.
Wow.
Okay, so she was juggling, she was balancing more. But on the way she's going to do that if she had the heart and the love for the game and knew that she had to be successful outside the game. So it go back to the student athlete, and she want to be a pediatrician. Right. But we know it's going to take a long time for that there too. Yeah. But she ready for it. Right. She knew there was her limit. She knew she had to get it done. Right. From that. But I like what you said too. Academic, going to be a doctor. Student athlete, want to be a pediatrician. Right.
But for your daughter, I think it's perfect. It's perfect because she is that exceptional athlete. My daughter was good, but she wasn't that exceptional in volleyball. So, again, like I said, we chose to focus just on the academics, but the things that Maya is learning by going to school and playing volleyball and keeping the grades up and all that. That's time management.
Correct.
That's time management,
Correct.
which we all have to have in life, period.
Correct.
You know, I know you're being very humble, but, you know, a lot of her success is as a result of having a dad like you who preaches that kind of thing to their kids. You know, I pray over my kids and I speak positive things over my kids all the time and tell them the same thing. You know, the sky's the limit. Not even the sky's the limit. There are no limits.
Right.
There are no limits. You. That's it. So I just think that, you know, you're so inspirational for so many kids, even in training. I think you kind of take it for granted a little bit about the impact you've had on your kids.
Well, I think I knew my purpose in life. I knew that I had the passion for it. And I just tried to make sure that if I'm going to do it for the other people's kids,
right,
I'm going to do it for my own.
Right.
And I've been blessed, and it definitely happened for all my kids. So, you know, a lot of people can't say that.
Right.
You know, but I'm saying it because I live it, I believe it, and I just know that their success is my success.
Right.
They do well, I do well, right? You know, I'm not going to one of them coaches going to say, I live my life through my kid. No, I live my life through God. So make sure that I do what my purpose and what He said I need to be doing. Right. And as you can see, the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah. Hey, look, you know, as they say in the Bible, you know, and you shall know them by their fruit. Mm-hmm. That's how people know you. That's how people are going to judge you, by the people, by the citizens your kids become. Right. You know, and the things that they do. Right. Because it is a reflection on you. So I certainly take that seriously. I have conversations with my kids all the time about, you know, no limits and the importance of relationships. Right. You know, the importance of relationships. I tell them all the time, hey, listen, them ain't the rules. Rules are made for people who don't know anybody. You know the right people, them ain't the rules. Right. Exactly. If you know the right people. Right. Exactly. Get to know the right people. Right people. Right. You know, and that's one of the things that I think that student athletes sometimes miss out on or don't focus on when they have the opportunity, and that is to build those relationships with that coach, with that trainer, with, you know, with the other players, but also with the regular students who are doing different things and involved in different things and being involved in different clubs and whatnot. Right now, you have a spotlight on you. You have a stage, right? Because you're a student athlete there, and you know the rest of the students kind of look up to you for your sports prowess. Mm-hmm. So while you have their attention, okay, now let's get to know each other. Get to know each other, right? And now speaking of that, two things I would get into, right? And I can't wait to talk about this because we talked about this before, and I kept saying, well, when you come on the show, I got to ask you this question. But I'm gonna flip the script a little bit, right? Yeah. So when Lowe go to Notre Dame, committed to Notre Dame to play for the University of Notre Dame, $320,000 scholarship. I ain't paying a dime. Right. They can't get nothing out of me. The next time I say, hey, he chose you over 27 more schools. Yeah. The only time I spend some money, I fly up them. And y'all better have me some free food at the parent meeting. So I go to the dorm, right? They don't have fraternities. Yeah. They don't have fraternities, right? And I have what they call, I guess, dorms. So they got a Dillon Hall, different names. So Lowe's in the Dillon Hall. Right. So we go there and get them and put them in the room. And I looked and I'm like, where's the football players? Right? You know, and all of a sudden, Chris Collinsworth's son come in. Mm-hmm. Right? Right. It's okay. All of a sudden, I look again. I'm like, whoa. There go Joe Montana's son. Yeah. I say, boy, I like how they do it in college. Boy, you gonna eat good. Right? Then I look around the corner. I got to say a name, Manti Te'o. Wow. So I'm like, boy, you surrounded by royalty right here. Yeah. But there was one more room. It was a kid from Japan, international student. Mm-hmm. I'm looking like, why he in the classroom? I'm looking, I'm like, it just puzzled me. I got all the football player and I got an international student. So I go back and ask the coach, Tony Alfred. I had him on the show last week. I said, why y'all got a Japan in this class? You know? Mm-hmm. He say, well, Lo, think about it. Notre Dame got one of the largest alumni base around the country. They everywhere. 236 alumni association around there. Mm-hmm. What if Lo wants to go to Japan? Right. What if the
AJ, who's in another room with a kid from China. Mm-hmm. What about the ones in the room from Dubai? So what if they want to go to all them places? They got a connection.
Right.
Now, you ain't just, now your network is not just your football buddies.
Right.
This student, he going to graduate from Notre Dame.
Right.
He going to stay. He's not going anywhere. The football player might leave early, transfer, drop out. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Relationships. Yeah. They set you up for success.
Right.
Okay? So I just want to point that out. Now I want to talk about Gregorio Francis that went to University of Florida. He had a roommate. Roommate played football.
Right.
Greg did not.
Right.
I want to hear that relationship there because that got to be tough. I'm at Florida. I got a roommate that played for Florida Gators.
Well, he played basketball.
Basketball,
not football.
Okay.
And you want to know how it's working out? That's my brother, man. We talk probably 4 or 5 times a week. We stay in touch. I'm his kid's godparent. He's my kid's godparent.
Look at
that. So we were very close. But I think it was a unique relationship because two people who were kind of alike kind of found each other, Mm-hmm. He really is a man of few words, and in reality, until I got a lot older, so was I. Mm-hmm. So we became fast friends that way. We ended up in the same fraternity and whatnot. But it was different. As popular as I thought I was, I didn't have 18,000 people in the O'Connell Center watching me shoot through free throws.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hoping that I win and I'll make that night.
Right.
I didn't have that.
Right.
But he was very modest about it. But the relationship worked out really well. He comes from a family of educators, and his dad barely spoke English. Went to Tuskegee, and he talked about riding the bus back and forth from Tuskegee to Tampa, and they just have that strong work ethic. So he was never one of those that, well, I'm an athlete, you're not type guy. But it was a very good and beneficial relationship that, like I said, now that's my brother.
Right, man. So you seen firsthand student athletes, what they had to go through, their process they went through, and you didn't go through. But you went through another process trying to pursuing to be a lawyer.
Right.
That's that's a hard process too. But what do you think about that process, student athlete process, as you sit back and you're working, you're doing your part? Is it set up right for them? Are they set up for success? The work they have to put in. Or did they get a little easier than you, or did they have to go to class, or what's your thought process with that?
Well, look, Lewis Oliver, that played for Florida and that played for the Dolphins, got me through undergrad because between his notes and the notes of the tutors that they had over there, what you would pass down to me. And again, I didn't play football. I didn't know him like that. We had a class together. We became friends. And he would share those notes with me. That got me through. Wow. That got me through. That was a statistics class that everybody was flunking and whatnot. Lewis gave me those notes, man, and I did real well with it. So, it's about having the right relationships, But in terms of, is it set up right? It's a challenge.
Right.
It's certainly a challenge because you don't have the free time that other students have to either rest, to mess around, to study, or whatever. Your time is limited. But that just means you got to be that much more focused in order to be successful with it. Again, like I say, student athletes, I think they don't spend enough time, building those relationships.
Right.
But let me tell you something that I told my son recently. We spend so much time in life thinking, man, when as long as I get to college, man, with this scholarship, I'm good, and I'm going to be on Easy Street.
Right.
Or as soon as I make this amount of money, I'm on Easy Street.
Right.
Or as soon as if I can get past this class, then I'm on Easy Street. Right. Things are going to get better. Things are going to get easier.
Right.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
It get harder before it get easier.
Gets harder. So we have to. I teach my son. I teach my daughter. Switch your focus from trying to get to the easy part to handling hard better.
Yes. Yes.
You got to be able to handle hard better.
I like that.
Because anything that is worth having is worth working for.
Yes.
So it's going to get harder and harder, because once you get past this semester and that class that you thought you had to get past, there's going to be another one.
Right.
You know, just you think all I got to do is get out of spring and be the starter. I'm going to be the starter in the fall, and then somebody comes in.
Right.
You know, you just don't know. There is no easy time, so you have to focus on doing hard better.
Right. I like that. I tell you, I'm going back to when my son was in middle school. Lowe's in middle school. And he was going bad, getting in trouble. And one day they called me in, sat down. You know, I'm like, Lowe about to go crazy. He said, oh my God, my dad up in here. You know, they called me drill sergeant up in here, baby. Yeah. It's going down in here. I come in, I sit down, and I'm ready to take him down, right? Yeah. so I'm sitting there, and the teacher talking to him about him, what he doing, how he acting out. Then she said, Lowe, what you want to be when you grow up? So she asked that question. Because that's all everybody. That's the question everybody's asked a kid. What you want to be when you grow up? What you want to be when you grow up? What you want to be when you grow up? And I already knew the answer. But before he can answer me, I said, stop. I said, I don't know why you asked him that question. Because I already know the answer. And you already know the answer. You see what we're wearing? A football jersey on. And so I want you to rephrase that question to my son. He said, what you mean? I said, when you ask him what you want to be when you grow up, I want you to give him some choices.
Right.
She said, I understand that, Mr. Wood. Lowe, what you want to be when you grow up? Doctor, lawyer. Now I started naming our professional things that can impact the world. Right. A doctor, change the world. Right. A lawyer can change the world. Right. A judge can change the world. Right. A fireman, even an ambulance driver, to get that to the point. These are people, nurses, they can change the world. Yeah. Scientists, neurologists, all of them. But she didn't give him them choices. Nowadays, it's the same thing. But I go back to the next question is, what made you want to be a lawyer, someone that can impact and change the world? Your daughter is pursuing to be a doctor. Why that route? You know,
God is a funny God. He's a funny God.
Yes, he is.
I went to the University of Florida, and I was in gifted classes and all that. I was the only athlete in the gifted class, you know. And I went to University of Florida, and I thought I had it all figured out, and I was going to be an aerospace engineer. Ooh. And someone told me, hey, your first semester, kind of ease your way into it. But no, man, I'm gifted. I got it. I got an F in chemistry. I got a D in calculus. I got a C+ in psychology. I got a B+ in English. So right then and there, I should have known that law school or something of that type was going to be my thing. But I didn't, and I kind of messed around a little more. My grades got better after that semester. I was on the verge of being put out, but I didn't get put out. And you know, at Florida at the time, and I don't know if they still do this, but there was like an 80-hour rule. After you had been and taken 80 hours at the University of Florida, back when I was there, you had to apply to an upper division school. You had to, you know, psychology, journalism, business, criminal justice, whatever. You had to apply, and you had to get in, and they looked at your grades. And nobody would let me in, man. Nobody would let me in except in criminal justice. And I really just stayed there and talked to the guy because he had turned me down. And I said, look, I really want to do this. I know I can do it or whatnot. And he said, okay, if you take these courses and pass them with an A or a B, I will let you in. I took them. I got all A's in all of them, because I was focused. But fast forward now, I've been to University of Florida 5 years. You know, although I didn't play sports, I had a red shirt year. Yeah, right. I've been there 5 years. I'm getting a degree in criminal justice. I'm about to graduate, and I'm walking to meet my fraternity brothers one day, and I'm like, man, what am I going to do with a criminal justice degree? Right. Like, I don't want to be a cop. You know, that ain't cool in my neighborhood.
You ain't need a degree to be a cop.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need a degree to be a cop. So I wonder what I would do. And man, look, I just had an epiphany as I walked past the bookstore, and a bunch of my fraternity brothers had been talking about law school, and a couple had gotten into law school. I went in there and bought a book, man, and studied that book. It was 40 days till the LSAT test. 40 days to LSAT test, and I bought that book and I broke it down into, you know, basically 40 chapters, and took it and ended up getting in law school. So I'm kind of the unlikely lawyer.
Right.
I say that, but I think it was God's divine plan the whole time.
Right.
Remember, I told you about my best friend growing up and where he is and the conviction that I had. And I just think that the Lord put me in a place, man, you know, where I could help people, and it's really, you know, they as they say, you know, Lord take care of babies and fools.
Yeah,
I was quite grown, so so you can tell which one I was.
A fool.
But, yeah.
Go say it.
Yeah. But you know, I got in that, and you know, going in and being a lawyer. You know, I remember the first year of law school, at the end in summer school. Many of the law students that, you know, black law students were complaining about they weren't getting clerkships, summer clerkships from these big firms, and the firms that came on to school to recruit. You know, it was a very
internship, clerkship. What's the difference there?
It's really a clerkship.
Clerkship, okay.
Yeah, but because you're a law clerk.
Okay.
So I heard him complaining, man, and I didn't disagree with him.
Mm-hmm.
The facts were good, but I wasn't going to spend a bunch of time going over rehearsing a problem.
Right.
I went back to school in the fall, and I walked into the career services office, and I say, look, I want to volunteer. You don't have to pay me.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to volunteer, because I wanted to see for myself what the recruiters were looking for when they came in there, and I would talk to them and, you know, have conversation with them, even if I wasn't on their interview list or whatever. And I ended up getting a clerkship. You know, as a result of going that extra mile and building those relationships.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. Now, and now, fast forward a little bit. Well, before I fast forward, let me go back here. Back to the question that this teacher asked my son, and then I responded with Kim's choices.
Right.
I don't see it anymore.
Right.
That we're not giving the youth the choices anymore. We're just asking what you want to be, and the first thing they're saying is anything that got something to do with social media. Right. Times are changing. Yes, I think there are less CEOs in the world than there is, you know, just like a football players almost seem like it. There are 1% that make to the NFL. 1%. And I was talking to Maurice Allen, and he was saying, yeah, 1% in the NFL, but there's a lot of guys that can be CEOs of companies.
Right.
But I don't know, are we guiding them? Are we pushing them that way? Did you know, now my statistic might be wrong here.
Right.
I try to go back and find them. At one point, when they asked the kids what they want to be when they grow up, the percentage, well, the top three was a pilot, so you can fly around the world to go to different concerts and shows and do stuff like that. They ain't never say be a pilot to go fly. There's some billionaires around for them to get paid.
Right.
That's why they want to fly.
Right.
Number two, they want to be a gamer. All they want to do is have competition, win games, because gamers making millions of dollars, all this money now. They're making money just being a gamer. Mm-hmm. Number one was a YouTuber.
Wow.
A YouTuber. Wow. No one said lawyer.
Right.
I don't want to say no lie for wrongly accused.
Right.
No one said doctor. I don't want to say no lies being a doctor. I don't want to do that. Yeah. No one said nurse. No one said nothing, astronaut, neurosurgeon. They said none of that. These are things they said.
Right.
Why you feel we're going that direction?
I think it's exposure, you know, and it's overexposure in the sense of social media, because you think that's what's cool or whatnot. But it's underexposure in terms of, you know, kids knowing what other things are out there. Mm-hmm. Look, I didn't know what an investment banker was when I was growing up.
Right.
I didn't know what private equity funds are.
Right.
And a family office is, and I didn't know any of those things. So those weren't things that were options to me, because I didn't know anything about them.
Right.
You know,
right.
if I could go back now, I'd love to be an investment banker.
Right.
But I didn't know anything about that. So I think it's the lack of exposure of our kids being exposed to different things and really paying attention. You know,
Right.
neighborhood I live in now, very, very exclusive neighborhood, hundreds of houses, nice houses,
Right.
really nice houses. There's only about 3 athletes in there.
Wow.
Everyone else in there is some type of professional or an owner of a business. You know, and you'd be surprised some of the things that, you know, some of these folks came up with. You know, there was one guy in there, his sons, I think all his sons were long snappers for SEC schools.
Yeah. Crowfoot. I coach with him.
He invented the PVC furniture.
For Palm Casual.
For Palm Casual.
Yep, I know him
You know,
personally.
not everyone, most people in there, like I say, are professional, or they invented something, or they own something.
Correct.
Or they run something.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you're not exposed to that and you don't see that and you don't understand that, you know, you think that the path is very narrow and it has to be through athletics.
Correct.
No, you got to let athletics also work for you. You know,
Right.
Magic Johnson is probably the best example, him or LeBron, but definitely Magic Johnson. Magic said, listen, when I played and the players and the coaches didn't mix. We didn't talk out of practice. We didn't do any of that.
Right.
He said, not me. I got to know. No, not the player. I'm sorry, the players and the owner never mixed.
Right.
He said, not me. I got to know the owner. I got to know Jerry Buss. You know? And, you know, when everybody else was talking about something, I'm on the sidelines and I see somebody sitting in the front row and I know they're a banker, I'm getting to know them. He's like, Jerry Buss introduced me to so many different people. And what I would do is, you know, if I had to be there, if he said, hey, Magic, can you be at this bank at 3 o'clock? I'd be there at 2:30.
Right. Early.
Shaking hands and meeting people and then staying after the meeting.
Right.
But he took advantage of the opportunity that he had. He's a Hall of Fame player. So he's a
Right.
great athlete, but he understood that athletic lifetime has a limit on it.
Yes.
You know, LeBron is an anomaly. You
Right.
know, I won't even say 40. You know, if you are a professional athlete past 30, you're kind of in the very rare.
You're in a whole different class.
Right, in a whole different class.
Right.
So if you're 32 and you got the rest of your life to live, what are you gonna do? You
Right.
can't get out there. You ain't running 4-3 no more.
Right. No.
That's over with.
You better say, I hope you
That's
save
over
your
with.
money.
Yeah, save your money, invest your money.
Right.
But definitely also go with the, you know, student athletes need to focus on exposure and trying to find different things, and a lot of that comes from, again, like those relationships. You
Right.
know, when you meet other students around there, and then, you know, you start talking to them. Hey man, what did your dad do?
Right.
What's your mom do?
Right.
You know.
Right.
And next thing you know, you get the exposure to those things. So
Right.
I just think the lack of being able to see it, of being able to see people who are successful and what they have to go through. Causes our kids to just focus on the things that's relevant to them and is most easily accessible to them. You know,
Right.
YouTube. Everybody got a phone. You know,
Even 10-year-olds got a phone
everybody
nowadays.
got a phone, and you know, it's filming everything. You know, so I get it, and I think, you know, the world has changed some too. You know, after COVID and whatnot, but really, you know, you need to be, if you're a young athlete now, you need to be focused on not only your craft, but but what's after this?
What's next? Plan
What's
A,
next?
A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
What's
What's
next?
next?
I tell you, I was talking to Tony, like from University of Michigan. He was saying everybody is into the now. What about now? I want it now. No patience. Nobody want to wait. I want everything now.
Right.
And when they don't get it, how they deal with it mentally.
Right.
Oh, I didn't make it. I wasn't successful in it. You know, I did everything. I tried hard. You know, but at the same time, did I go through the process? Right? Did I take my time? Did I have the mindset, right? Was I committed to doing all the way? Did I sacrifice certain things, right? Or did I really have the passion for it? I really love it at the same time, right? Because if you want it right now, then you're going to miss something.
Right.
But if you just take your time and go through the process, right? I call it the steps to success, right? But a lot of them are not doing it. They want it right now. When they don't get it, they jump and run.
Like I said, you got to be able to handle hard better.
Mm-hmm.
And when things get hard, people think, okay, well, this means no for me. Doesn't mean no. You know, I tell my son every day in practice, he was like, I was like, how was practice today? Practice was good. Okay. Did you get better today? Are you better today than you were yesterday? I'm not asking him about what anybody else is doing.
Did you get better?
Did you get better?
Right.
Did you waste your time out there on that practice field today? Or did you give it your all?
Right.
While you out there?
Correct.
You know, and I just think that that's important to, you know, for kids to hear and to be focused on.
Exactly.
But you got to be able to, it's never going to be easy. Life isn't easy.
Right.
You know, we have all these challenges.
Right.
But you got to be able to handle the hard better, because anything worth having, you know, is worth working for. I mean, think about it. How hard is it to be a parent?
Yeah.
You don't have all the answers, and you got this little you,
yeah.
you know?
Right. Or a couple of you.
Yeah, a couple little yous, you know, challenging you
Right.
at every turn and whatnot.
Right.
That's not easy. It doesn't get easier.
Right.
Not that your kids are out of school and, you know, some out of school and some in school and they got scholarships and all that. It still ain't easy.
It's tough.
You know, you still have to invest time and effort and resources in them. So it never gets easy. Just be able to handle the hard better. Because when you can handle the hard better, you can get on to the next thing and really climb the ladder towards whatever your goal is. Yeah.
So, I mean, it go back to the relationship, the networking, right? Connection, talking to each other. I ask my son, Lo, when the last time you called TJ? When the last time you called Prince? When the last time you called Spencer? When the last time you called him? Or just text him or just reach out? And I'm laughing in my head. You're going to laugh at this one too. How many times I called you and said, I'm going to go and call you before you call me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. I learned a lesson from that.
I said, oh, you didn't call me? Oh, I'm going to call you?
Yeah.
Right? I tell my kids that all the time. Mm-hmm. Call, text, reach out. Yeah. You never know if it's that right moment. I was just at my barbershop today, and me and one of my barbers talked about something off the wall. Had nothing to do with a haircut. He was showing me some example about something, some guy, some girl stuff. He go and open the door, and this girl looks in and say, "Hey, Scooby." And he was like, "Hey, what's up? Come here." Now, if we ain't talking about something that's talking about whatever, she don't come in. Mm-hmm. She come in the right timing. Mm-hmm. I'm there. I got a free booth right here empty.
Right.
She started working next week.
Wow.
But you just don't at the time. But by me going, sitting down in the shop, talking to him, conversating about anything, he showed me some example. He opened the door just like that. It happened.
Yeah.
The relationship building is so important. And
I'm going to give you an example there too. You know, me as a lawyer, and I represent people who are injured and whatnot, but I will not take someone's case to trial and stand in front of a jury and tell them what they have lost until I go to their house. Mm. I want to go to their house. I want to sit in the living room. I want to see what it feels like. I want to look in the closet. Mm. I want to see what the bedroom looks like. What are the living conditions like? Because that helps me understand better who it is that I'm representing and what this means to them.
Right.
You know, so it's and people are shocked a lot of times when it happens, but it's like, no, you want to meet. Okay, I meet with my clients all the time. But if I'm going to try your case, I got to come to your house. We got to have, some tea, some coffee, a drink, whatever,
Exactly.
And just walk around and see how they're living.
Well, I tell you, just talking to so many youth athletes, all the time. And this week been crazy week. I think I was on the phone, I think I told you 10, but like at least 7 of my, I say, athletes right now, but they come home from college still training me, so they're my athlete. They're not my alumni. They're not my former.
Right.
And I'm on the phone with about 7 of them. All 7 is in what they call the transfer and portal for football. They jumped in the portal, all for different reasons, right? And now that they're in the portal, some stuck, some can get out, some gonna go where they don't want to go, some in just straight up trouble. That's also go back to the one that graduate for 4 years. Mm-hmm. No, after 4 years, because they graduate, they come home with no guidance. Mm-hmm. So now this person that's in the portal, he's no better than one that finishes 4 years because he's stuck. But what make it worse for him is, Greg, if he do not get picked up after that semester.
Right. He's out of there.
He's out.
Out of school, period. Yeah.
Now he's coming home to mama house. Mama downgraded because she got to save money maybe. Mm-hmm. So he's stuck in the house with a smaller room. He's still waiting to go somewhere. Mom didn't have the money for college. That's why he played football. You try to get in school.
Right.
But she was only about the grades, go to school. Now, what angle we go? What directions? Where they going now? Then all of a sudden they say, we're looking for a few good men.
Right.
Here come the Army. Here come the Navy, Air Force, Marine. Next step, here we go. We'll pay for your car. They sell you too.
Yeah.
But you got to go grind in there. You got to work that much harder, boy. You got to work. Boot camp, discipline now. Remember now, you just were free at college. I mean, in a sense, you got up and you had a routine, but you still kind of free. You had to really put on a uniform. Right. It was a uniform you want to put on.
Right.
You love shining your cleats right there for that game. Right. But when it come down to the military, them shoes, they got to be right. But that didn't work for you. You're home. They got nowhere to go. How can we put together something for our young men and women to come home and have an opportunity to still be successful, just like Gregorio Francis?
Well, the first thing I will say is, we need to, they say it's easier to, what is it? It's easier to repair a child than fix an adult and fix a man, through all the trauma. So I think that the first thing we need to do is really we need to preach and instill relationships. I have a portal story too. My godson went to Kansas State to play football, just didn't work out for whatever reason, and he said he was getting in the portal. He got picked up almost immediately, but you know why? Because when he decided to go to Kansas State, he called Bowling Green and he thanked them for recruiting him. Mm-hmm. He really appreciated it, and he was just making a different decision. And they remembered that. They remembered that. They remembered the type of character that he had in doing that. So again, that just kind of goes back to the relationships. But, these kids that are coming home, we have to try to establish some type of something that's going to give them the exposure, something that is going to allow them to, see different facets of life and different, different ways to potentially make it. It's always been, and it's always worked for me, is I've always had mentors. Didn't matter how old I was, I always had somebody older that was kind of, I'd bounce stuff off of, or I would, kind of try to soak up some of their wisdom. So it's important to have mentors and people who will pour into these kids because your self-worth is not just as a football player.
Correct. Correct.
It's not just as a football player,
right.
and we need to let our kids know that's true. That you're not just a football player. You're a student who happens to play football as a way to pay for your education.
Right.
Right. So I think that's important to have, mentorship programs. I think, it doesn't have to be something different. It can be an offshoot of what you already do.
Correct.
And have those athletes come in, have them come in the summers, when they're down here training anyway, have seminars or look, this week we're going to do this, this, and this, but on this day we're going to have this lawyer come in, we're going to have this EMT come in, we're going to have this firefighter come in, and just give you different examples. It doesn't, all you're doing is listening. It ain't taking away from your dream of playing football.
Right.
I don't want to be a dream killer there.
I was talking to one of the counselors at Windermere High School. Now, asking her, I say, y'all do this fair. They do like a fair where all the colleges come in. I say, where is the fair where all of the people that want to make a difference in the world come in?
Right.
Now, I want where the fire department, the police,
right.
You bring them to the little kids and make them jump on the fire truck.
Right.
How about bring them to the big kids so they can drive the fire truck?
Right.
So That's something I think need to be added into all the school system.
Yeah.
They got all the ways they want to do stuff just to certify people the way they are and their religion, they this, they that. But why not have a career source that when you get done with college, you still can come back here and talk to that career source or that guidance counselor or whatever department that can help you. That's another angle. Because that's bigger than just me.
Right.
Greg, you give thousands of gifts to kids for Christmas. Right? We making turkey for Thanksgiving. Right? We donate. You do so much for the community. Right? You can't do it all by yourself.
Right. Amen.
Me, myself, I train kids. We donate through the Aaron Jones Foundation. We give kids money for college. You know, if they're going to small college, we buy books, we buy transportation, but we can't do it ourselves. Mm-hmm. But I have a little resource. I mean, me, myself, I got 4 guys right now that graduated college, that's home with me right now training. Mm-hmm. They interned me as a personal trainer. Mm-hmm. Then I set them up to get their LLC for them to be their own trainer. Mm-hmm. Then we set them up with a class, online class, be a personal trainer. Then I show them how to train and how to market, do their own training. Mm-hmm. That's one entity right there. Mm-hmm. I know that there's a way that you can do the same thing. Y'all come in here, show what we're doing, sit down with my paralegal or whoever. We'll show you how to set up an LLC. Or what the case might be. We donate, we do so many different things. LLC is $123.
Right.
Them things that we can do, right?
Right.
But that only a small, I mean, I didn't say small about 50 more times, don't it? Small percentage, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How many high school there's in Central Florida?
Yeah. Too many.
Right?
I mean, I don't even know all the names of them anymore. But I think you're right. And in our school system, we have taken out a lot of things that we had when we were in high school. Shop. Home ec, how to type, all those things, because those are potential entrepreneurial things. Think about, see, if you're in high school and college ain't your thing, you don't want to go to the military. What about a CDL? You start out driving, next thing you know, you got a truck, you got your own truck, then you got 2 trucks.
Yes, there you go.
Then you got 4 trucks.
Right.
I think that we've taken the focus off of some of those professions, and it's resulted in us, our kids focusing on YouTube and the things that you mentioned because they don't know.
Focus on the now.
Yeah.
But if I have 200 high schools around, that means so every kid from Central Florida, in order to go to college, you got to go to high school.
Right.
For 4 years. You have to go. Not even a question. Mm-hmm. So I go to high school for 4 years. That means I have a relationship with guidance counselors or career source, something. I got a relationship with somebody in that school. There's no reason why should be able to come back, go in that school and say, hello, Miss Sussa, I'm here, back from college, I got a degree from Florida. Can you guide me? Can you help me? Or I came back, didn't work out, I couldn't finish, I couldn't pay, something happened. Mm-hmm. Something happened in a kid's life. Mm-hmm. I come back, can you guide me in another direction? Do you got some resources that you can help me with? Mm-hmm. That's the number one resource that we should have for our youth kid is the high school, because you went to that high school for all years. Some teachers still there.
Right.
But no kids ain't going back to that. Right. And they're gonna be. We definitely need to do it now, because when it comes to sports, the biggest sport they have give all the scholarships is football. Mm-hmm. They give 99 on per team, let's say a smaller school, 25 per year. Because of the transfer portal that's going on, their kids not even getting in school. Mm-hmm. I got kids still waiting to get in school from 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And they're gonna be waiting 2 more years. So they gotta start a different career path now.
Right.
But they don't know how. They don't know where to go. And we got to find a better way, and I think school system is the way to go.
No, I think the school system is the way to go too. But so many times, like with guidance counselors, they're more focused on, okay, what are your grades because you're going to college. Right. They're trying to guide you that way and not necessarily guide you to a vocation. Mm-hmm. Being a plumber doesn't sound very exciting. However, if you work for yourself and if you market and if you do good work, you can be very successful.
Correct.
Be very successful.
Correct.
So I agree with you. I think the high schools, I didn't think about that, but high schools would be a good resource for that. Almost like a after high school counselor or whatever.
Right.
That would be, I think that would be beneficial. But, absent that, like I said, you got to find your mentor. I have spent time on the phone with kids. I spent time in my office with kids who just called me and said, "Hey, we want to talk to you. Want to talk about, how you did it or what you did, or they have specific questions." And I'm happy to do that. Most people, if you ask them and you give them reason why, can I talk to you because I want to be a lawyer? Can I talk to you because I'm considering this or that?
Right.
Once you give them a reason why, the answer is usually, yeah.
I can do it.
I can do it.
I got it.
So it's also going to take some initiative from those student athletes or anybody coming back from college to go out there and make that relationship and have that initiative to go out there and really make it happen. Nobody's giving me anything in life.
Right.
Like I know no one's giving you.
No.
I didn't pick oranges like you did, but I cut yards. And I cut a lot of yards over the years, and it taught me, it taught me work ethic, but it also taught me, hey man, nobody's coming. There's no help. There's no help coming.
Right.
You have to be your best resource.
Right.
And you are the CEO of you.
Exactly.
You got to look at yourself almost as a company.
That's right.
Jay-Z said, I ain't a businessman. I'm a businessman. You gotta look at yourself as a commodity, and you're the CEO of it. How do you dress? Where are you going? What are you doing? What impression you putting out there? You're trying to be a lawyer, but you can't be the drunkest person in the club.
Right. Right.
Right. I ain't saying you can't go to the club, but you can't.
Right.
But you have to be cognizant of that image that you're portraying out there, and and understand and be intentional. One of the things that I think I left out before, but that my daughter has, that your daughter has, is they're intentional about it. They're intentional about being in medicine. They didn't like me go up there to be one thing, I end up over here. Right. They're intentional about it. And every class that they take is focused on and geared towards advancing that.
Right. It's so funny you said that. I was talking the other day. I said, listen, now, I pay a lot of money for that club volleyball. That still hunted me to the day.
We paid a lot of money.
Club volleyball. Whoa.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
But then she got her full ride. Okay, we good. Okay, it balanced out. Somebody's on return on investment. I said, no, I just supported my daughter because of the price of the time we spent together. Me and you in the stand, watch them hit them ball. Priceless, right? Yeah. So I talked the other day. I said, hey, now when you come out in 4 years now, and when you graduate in 4 years, now volleyball over, scholarship over, you're going to have a job that can, the degree that can get you a job, that can make you at least $50,000, $60,000, right? Right. And she like, yeah, but, okay, no, I'm saying that because I ain't trying to pay for the money 4 or 5 years. You better get a loan. And of course, we're going to do what we got to do. But she said, I said, you're going to have a job that your 4 years can get you $50,000, $60,000. You can go back to school, pay for it yourself. Daddy didn't know. You know what I'm saying? You know what she told me? No, Daddy, I'm going to be a plastic surgeon.
Amen.
I said to myself, there goes the new Range Rover. But they all say, you take care of them now, you do it right, they'll take care of when you need them on your own. That's great for them. But Greg, your accomplishment is just to exceed all expectation. The pinnacle of the community, right? Prestige lawyer. Right. But you didn't get there just by, hey, I got my degree. But when I started hearing the name Greg Francis, I'm going to bring it up, Morgan & Morgan, Greg Francis. I even have a case over there. I got in a car today. I'm like, oh, wow. Then all of a sudden, a new venture, comes about. A whole new venture came about. But before then, I heard you start off saying about, your people and, our community and what we need to do. You did something very good for the people, our people, the black farmers, discrimination, lawsuit against the government. That was huge. That was a whole nother level. And And people don't, a lot of people even understood it.
Right.
To be able to sit there and be part of that huge movement changed lives.
Absolutely. Look,
really.
I was certainly blessed to get involved in that case and to meet farmers. And if you haven't spent any time out in the country, spend some time out in the country. You want to meet some real genuine folks. Go in the country, and that's, I had the pleasure of representing those people, and and receiving a phenomenal result. I was at a picnic recently, and they gave me the mic to talk, and I talked a little bit, and I said, I represented black farmers, and I got them the largest civil rights settlement ever, $1.25 billion.
Wow.
And I said, but why do I say that? And everybody's like, why are you telling us that? I said, because I ain't scared. I ain't scared. If you go up against the United States of America as a defendant, you're not scared.
I ain't scared of nobody.
I ain't scared of nobody. You're scared of nobody. And, and my best Jamaican boys watch me now, because I have I'm about to exact some more justice for a group of farmers here in the next couple of months.
Right.
That I think, again, will move the needle some in terms of who we are and recognition of, the people who really built this country.
Exactly.
Who really built this country. So,
you ever thought you would be there, though? You ever thought, we keep talking about you are your only limit. You thought you'd be sitting there with, I seen one of the articles where it was you and two more guys, three people, and sitting there and going against the government.
Right.
You ever thought, I'm Gregorio Francis, I'm a lawyer, I went to Florida Gate, but you know what? I'm from a little town. I went to Oak Ridge High School, and here I am sitting there representing the people.
All the time. God. And you know what? And I was scared. I had imposter syndrome. Oh, they're going to find out, man. I went to Oak Ridge.
Yeah.
I went to the University of Florida. I remember being in the gym in Alworth working out, and older men were in there, and one was a CEO of Universal and something else, and they started talking about Harvard and Yale and business classes on the weekend and whatnot. They started calling out names, and I knew they were trying to get me into the conversation because they want to know who is this guy,
right?
And I walked out of there and I felt really low because I thought, man, what you doing here, man? You didn't go to Harvard or Yale or anything like that. And my mentor at the time told me, he said, look, man, you can be whoever you want to be. You have just as much right to be there as anybody else. Just as much right to be there. So when I stood up on behalf of those farmers against their very own country, I felt like, you know what, this is where I'm supposed to be. And it took a while to get there. Look, everyone has a lot of imposter syndrome in them. Not you. But most people got, hey, man, they're going to figure out I'm not who this, I'm not this, I'm not that. And you get to certain levels of that. But I've been in rooms, and I've seen things, and I've met people that I couldn't even fathom as a child. I hosted Senator Barack Hussein Obama here in Orlando the first time he came after he gave that speech.
Wow.
I have stood in the room with President Obama where we're having a conversation. My wife is pregnant and we're having a conversation about the naming the baby and whatnot.
Wow.
And I told my wife after that, I said, when we left there that night, I said, well, it's all downhill from here. She was like, what do you mean? I was like, we just partied with the president. It don't get much better than that. Don't get much better than that.
Exactly.
But it's things like that.
Right.
Things like that,
Right.
Having dinner with, the Senate Majority Leader, having, spending time with and running an office for and handling cases with Johnny Cochran.
Right.
None of these things, can I say, well, I did this, and this to get it. I just put myself in that position by having strong relationships.
Exactly.
But no, it's far exceeded everything that I ever thought. I tell every time I give a talk, I talk a little bit about I found in life I need three things.
Right.
Something to look up to, something to look forward to, something to chase after.
Right.
I look up to God.
Amen. Because
his hand has to be in this. I have been places and seen things and have opportunities that in my mind are just, I know it's not by the hand of any other man, any other mortal man. So that's who I look up to. Who do I look forward to? My kids. Right. My kids are the world to me.
Right.
They are my biggest critic, but they're also my biggest muse.
Right.
They motivate me to go out there and do more and to be better. And it doesn't matter what I do. It's never going to be enough for my son, but go, do more and be better.
That's Maya for me, boy.
And then finally, someone to chase after.
Right.
And I learned as a kid, probably 15 years old, I had a project about who my role model was, and I told my granddaddy, who I love dearly, called him daddy, that he was my role model. And he said, "No, son, not me." I was like, "But you're everything. You've raised these kids and everything." And he said, "No, your role model needs to be you in 10 years." And, that was about 15, and, I graduated from law school. Well, actually, this had to be in undergrad because he passed away when I was in law school. We had a conversation, and he said, "Greg, who are you now? Or who you chasing after now?" And I said, "Me 10 years from now."
Right.
Something I'll never catch. Yep. Mm-hmm. I'll never live up to that ideal, but it's motivation every day.
That's right.
To keep moving.
Right.
To keep doing something.
Right.
To chase after who I see as that ideal man, that ideal father, that ideal lawyer, that ideal businessman, that ideal social change artist. So it's important to have those ideals.
Right. And I love how you said it too, because I have this thing, we want to raise for me, I'm always talking about the boys, because they're the men.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think a woman's God's best creation. I don't care what to say.
Amen. Amen.
But I say, and I tell my son, that I want you to raise her to be a great man, great father, great husband. And I used to say great football player. Now I'm saying a great businessman, because that's what I am. Change that for them. And speaking of businessman itself, just to sum it up, is you I don't know if I even want to say stepped out on faith, because you was with another firm. Mm-hmm. And the big announcement come out, the big billboard. By the way, you still up there.
Right.
So I see the big billboard drive by, like, hey, he just start looking at us. So we got a big billboard. I don't know if say you got a partner there. You ain't say I don't want to say stepped out on faith, because I think you just were going to do it anyway. Eventually.
No, it was definitely step out on faith. I had a very good job, and I was a shareholder at that place, and I was making more money than I thought I would. I was entitled to make in my life.
Right. Okay.
I was making on a yearly basis. Right. So to tell them and to walk away from that, because when I walked away with nothing, no cases, no nothing. I had to start. My secretary and I were meeting at Starbucks.
So that's why I say so I was right then, stepped out on faith.
Yeah.
And now we have Osborne and Francis Law Office. Right here in Orlando, Florida.
We have 12 lawyers now.
12 lawyers. Wow. And your main function, and you're a lawyer, but you focus on cases like accidents.
Right, yeah. Auto accidents, slip and falls. We represent a family who just lost a child in an apartment fire.
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
Just people who have been injured tragically. We specialize in representing them, and from time to time, and it's usually about farmers right now. We handle civil rights cases as well. But when I left there in January of that year, when everybody makes I'm not a big resolution person, anything like that. But for whatever reason, an epiphany came on me. I was having a big birthday that year. I said, look, I need to do something that requires faith. I know I can make this kind of money.
Right.
Because I'm making it, and I'm just putting it away.
Right.
I need to do something that requires faith.
Right.
And I talked to a pastor, Pastor David Jopp of the Kingdom Church, and he told me this, because he has this huge facility. He's kind of moved up in churches, and he has like 60,000 square feet or something like that now. He's showing me around. I said, listen, you need all this space? I mean, do you really need all of this?
Right.
And he said, I don't know that I need it, Greg. He's like, but look, I just dream big and leave some room for God.
I like that.
Leave some room for God.
Right.
And you know, he now has a thriving church, but that's what I decided. I said, well, you know what? I'm a dream big. What if I have my own firm? You know, my ego, my mind, the way I was raised, I was always in my mind thinking, as you said, no regrets. I don't want to get to the end of this career and someone say, it wasn't really you, it was him.
Right.
It was this person that you worked for. It wasn't really you.
Right.
You know, so I wanted to prove something to myself and something to, you know, everyone else that no, what I have is special too, you know, and there's a covering on me. There's a blessing that the Lord has placed on me. There's grace that he has given me that is not tied to any other man. And owning your own business, you know, it's not like it doesn't come with a lot of stresses.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a lot of ups and downs.
Yes.
You know, as the owner, you don't always get paid.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
or you get paid last.
Right.
You get paid last because you got to make sure everyone else is paid.
Correct.
So it has its challenges, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I encourage everyone, at least try it. It may not be for everyone, but at least try.
Try it.
You know,
So I tried to start my own business.
Yeah, try to start your own
Come
business.
be a businessman. Tried to be a
Right.
CEO.
Right.
I tried to become an entrepreneur, and that was my thing. Even though back then I won a state champion, and I won a region championship in the hurdles, and then the next spring I had like 4 catches for 4 touchdowns, and the guy walked up, Bill Bohalter walked up and said, "Lo, what you want to be when you grow up?" Now back then I was 18 years old, so I couldn't say give me choices because I didn't know that word. That came on later on in life. And I said, I'm going to be a businessman and a coach. Mm-hmm. I didn't say I'm going to work for nobody.
Right.
Now, I got a problem working for somebody. I mean, you got to get started somewhere and maybe continue working. But I don't see nothing wrong with, you know, if you're going to work somebody, why not take that income and create more income and more residual, do other things, and still be your own boss too. Because one day you can be able to walk away from here, like you did, and become your own boss and do your own thing. And now you're going to impact others too, because now you the boss. You can bring others in, give them opportunities. And so with that being said, Greg Francis, I did want to thank you for coming on the Listen to Low show.
I appreciate you having me.
It's always great to have successful black men come in and share their love, share their information, give us some nuggets, right? Give us some knowledge on how we can take our youth or just even our adults, you know, and our family and our friends all to another level. And I sure appreciate you for that.
All right. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
And there it is. You have it right there. Episode 9. We said it right here on the Listen to Low show. And I'm telling you, you know, we had a good one right here. And I hope you took advantage of it. I hope you had 2 ears and 1 mouth. I hope you listen. I hope you learn. And remember, you are your own limit. This is coming from Sweet Fried Production, the Listen to Low show. Make sure you like it, share it, and subscribe our YouTube page at Camp King 12, K for Camp, K for Kids. See you next week.